Hi, Analisa here with the December 2022 horoscope for the sun sign Virgo, as well as the rising. I don't know why I say things so weird. Also, I want to apologize to all of my Virgos for how greasy I look. It's the lighting. It's not actually how I look. I mean, I do have like a dewy makeup highlighter situation going on, but whatever way the lighting is hitting my face is just making me look more that way. And I know Virgo. Okay, Bruce. My dog's just going to interrupt these videos too. That's just how that's going to go. Um, but I just know my Virgos are perfectionists, and I know that the glare on my face would probably bother most of you. So I apologize. I feel like the lighting is best in this part of my house. So Virgo, December is an interesting month for you. This is going to be a big generalization when it comes to how I'm talking about Virgo. My mother is a Virgo, and she's the most Virgo person you will ever meet. She's a Virgo stellium. Stellium means you have more than 4 celestial placements in a sign. Hold on one second. Let me deal with my dog. We have a squirrel living in the yard that the dogs get really excited about, so I apologize for that interruption. But I'm going to make some generalizations about Virgo that I'm aware it's not true for every Virgo. So whenever I'm talking about astrology on here in relation to any sign, these are generalizations for horoscopes. Horoscopes are a big generalization. Our charts are way more complex. We're way more unique than this, but just some Virgo stereotypes I'm going to be throwing at you. If you don't relate to them, that's totally fine. If you're a different type of Virgo, that's great. Virgo, though, you have a really hard time relaxing. Usually you can be a little neurotic. The need for control is very important to you. Even though you're really good at giving an impression that you're a lot more mutable and go with the flow than you actually are. Out of all the mutable signs, Virgo is the one that needs the most control. There's also a very harsh inner critic and a desire for perfectionism in whatever way that means to you. This month, going into December, you're going to be leaving this very kind of homebody energy that you've had over the last month. And you're going to be entering this other part where, while the need for perfectionism and control is still going to be there because we've got Mercury and Venus in Capricorn, you're going to need to have more of that energy encompassed around bringing more joy into your life and learning to relax a little bit so that you can actually enjoy the fruits of the labor around your organization or perfectionism that you've been trying to have in this area. It's kind of like that thing where if we are too controlling or too neurotic about what it is we want control over, then we don't even enjoy it, right? We don't even get to experience what it is we're creating in a positive way because there's so much stress and anxiety or judgment around it. And so this holiday season, it's going to be really important for you. Do the things that bring you joy around the holidays, you know, in whatever way that means, whether that's doing something super traditional. But you also need to have a way to connect to your inner child about it that's more fun, essentially, and less rigid, I guess would be the word. And so the area that Mercury and Venus are hitting in your chart, it's a weird energy because it's essentially the area that Leo rules. And so Leo is all about having fun. Leo's about having joy, having fun, connecting to the inner child and self-expression. But it's in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn's all business. Capricorn wants to get things done and wants to do it in a very pragmatic, practical, structured way. So if there's some way for you to combine those two where you can relax and have fun and laugh and connect to your inner child while still maintaining the boss structure that you might feel the need to have, that's going to be your happy place. And, you know, I think that putting it on the calendar, putting fun time on the calendar, relaxation time on the calendar, and prioritizing that is going to be really positive and beneficial for you. At the beginning of the month, we have a full moon in Gemini at 16 degrees. That's going to be making a conjunction with Mars. This is going to be impacting your career and the work that you do. Full moons are all about letting go and releasing things. And so any communication dynamics in the workplace that are just not working, it's time for that to shift. It's time for it to go. So in true Mars fashion, there might be some event or apex that happens. It's a catalyst for this change to occur. And this is also going to be a hard energy for Virgo because Virgo and Gemini square each other. And so there's tension when there's a square, but a lot of times through tension, we get some kind of, outcome that can be really productive if we're able to learn from the experience in a positive way. They say pressure makes diamonds. You have this pressure that you're going to feel at the beginning of December. You just have to lean into problem solving mode, which is super Virgo, right? It's kind of being analytical and figuring things out and finding the best solutions to the problems without getting too overwhelmed or blown out about all the various ways that it could play out. That's definitely an area that you have to kind of be careful about in yourself. So again, kind of learning to relax, learning to let things go, finding a way to get things done while still working joy into it is really important for you. As the month progresses and we get towards the end of the month, we're going to have the new moon at 1 degree Capricorn. And it's going to also kind of emphasize setting intentions around how you can have more joy in your life around the things that kind of bring out the more fun side of yourself. And how do you express that in the world? And so again, it's in Capricorn, which might kind of bring a little bit more of this seriousness into it. But it's in that placement that's really important for you to connect to your inner child. And, again, because it's Capricorn, we might kind of be leaning more into these kind of traditional things or traditional areas of life that we maybe have been disconnected from, but it might kind of come up for you where your inner child wants to experience something, in a traditional way that feeds your soul, so I think that it's going to be different for every individual what that means to them, right? What tradition means to you is going to be an individual experience. But doing those things, I mean, it could even be a certain type of food, like maybe there's a certain dessert that you had growing up that brings you to a certain place in your mind that's really positive and connects you to yourself. Like, I know for me, I hadn't had a pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving in a really long time. And I just felt this need to have a pumpkin pie. I'm vegan, gluten-free. So a lot of times if I go to somebody's house, I can't eat a lot of the desserts that they have. And so I made a vegan pumpkin pie, and that really fed my inner child. And it had been so long since I had one, right? So that's also a very kind of theme for Virgo, is like things like that, just little things. Like, how do we work some of that into our life in a way that's fun? And, maybe it's a tradition that we forgot about or that we put off that we want to experience. And so this new moon coming up might be about that. Another theme that might be positive for some Virgo people where this is hitting in the chart is if you are wanting to get pregnant or start a family or have another child, this is actually an auspicious time to try for that. So if that speaks to you and resonates for you, here's your green light. Go for it. With that said, we do have Mercury stationing retrograde at the end of the month too. So this could also be a time where maybe instead of going for it, you just are talking about it, reflecting on it, planning on it. Virgo, you might be a little bit more fertile this time of year. So if being pregnant or having a child is not something that you want, that could be something to be really mindful of, especially the Virgo rising person, because for Virgo rising people, this transit is hitting in your 5th house. And so if you don't want to get pregnant, be careful. be careful towards the end of the month. Let's see here if there's anything else. I keep kind of forgetting about this one and glossing over it at the end. The new moon is also going to be squaring Jupiter in Aries. And so there's going to be some tension at the end of the month with Mercury stationing retrograde and this new moon energy squaring Jupiter. And it looks like there's going to be some themes around shared resources for Virgo and kind of how you navigate that. So there might be some tension if you're dealing with an inheritance or any kind of assets that you share with your partner or family members. There might be a lot of things that have to get sorted out around that towards the end of the year. And because Mercury is stationing retrograde, it's not the best time to act on it, but it is a time to work on it and read the fine print, figure all that stuff out. And the end of January, things should start gaining momentum. So if you're kind of feeling like things are not gaining momentum and they're a little bit stuck, that's okay. You don't want to give up completely and not do anything, but you definitely want to be okay with the process taking longer or being slower. This is true for all of us. The end of December, it's just, this is a really good time to set the stage up for what we want by February. But we don't necessarily want to be trying to solidify too much before then because of the retrograde energy that we still have until the end of January. So again, great time to reflect, review, set things into motion, talk about it, work some happiness and some joy in, connect with yourself in a deeper way, but not necessarily the time to really try to get things to be a certain way. But yeah, so overall themes for Virgo: changes at work and trying to relax and have some fun while you're moving forward in whatever way that means for you, and connecting to your inner child around traditions and, you know, maybe familial things that were fun. You know, obviously that's different for everybody. Family might be traumatic, so it might be something else. It might be some way that you connect with yourself away from that that's still good for your inner child, if that makes sense. Again, with the assets, don't necessarily need to take action yet, but could be a time where you definitely need to start sorting things out and focusing on what you're going to do moving forward. Okay, that's your horoscope for December of 2022. Virgo, happy holidays and good luck.